All right, so this will be a quick review on the new Tikka T3X threaded. I'm going to apologize in advance. I know this camera makes it sound like I'm breathing through a scuba mask. I don't know why. I'm not a heavy breather. I can't hear myself breathe, but when I review the videos, it obviously is it's quite noticeable. So hopefully eventually I will be able to find a better setup for that. Look in the description after the video. If I misspeak or make mistakes, I'll put it there. I don't currently have the ability to edit my videos. So finally, Tikka has been paying attention, and they're starting to produce all their rifles now with threaded barrels. Basically, every model that I've looked into, starting 2025 into 2026 here, is going to come standard with a barrel threaded 5/8 by 24. So that is outstanding. Again, I think it's well past time. People are running, a lot of guys are running brakes. Suppressors are becoming extremely popular, at least in Minnesota where I live. I currently own 4 of them, and I'll be getting more of them. So I love the Tikka rifles, the original T3X. This is my 3rd Tikka now. If you've seen some of my videos, they're phenomenal guns. But one of the annoyances I've always had is they're just not threaded from the factory, and due to the barrel diameter, if you're going to thread them, you basically have to thread them 9/16 or something non-standard. So it does work. You can do it. I know a lot of guys that have done it, that they've held up well. But again, it's $180, $200 where I live now to get a barrel threaded, and it's just added inconvenience. So I was looking for a new rifle. I was trading my Savage 220 slug gun since Minnesota finally legalized statewide rifle for next year. I wanted to get ahead of the curve of everybody trading slug guns in. I went there and I was intending to buy a new 7-rem mag. So had my heart set on a stainless 24.5 inch Tikka T3X and 7-rem mag. I got there, they had the 300 Win mag, the 7-rem mag, 6.5 Creedmoor 243. And what kind of caught me off guard was the barrel lengths. So all the barrel lengths that they had in stock anyway were 22.5 inch, including the 7-rem 300 Win mag. So I know a lot of guys like the shorter barrels. I think there's definitely a place for that. But if I'm going to go that short 22.5 inch barrel, I'm going to do it in a PRC or a 300 WSM, which, man, if Tikka, if anybody's listening, bring back, this exact gun, 22.5 inch threaded 5/8 by 24, stainless and 300 short mag, because that is the optimal gun that I've kind of been looking for or thinking about building. So due to the barrel length, this one is in fact a 6.5 Creedmoor. I know, collective sigh, everybody roll your eyes. Why 6.5 Creedmoor for me? I already have one, so I have all of the dies, the reloading components, the brass, everything I need for it. If you've watched other videos, I have a Thompson Center Compass. It's been a really good shooting rifle. It's not something that you proudly pass down to the next generation. So I was planning on upgrading and getting a little bit better 6.5 Creedmoor at some point, and I decided to do it now since I got a good trade-in value on that gun. And again, the barrel lengths on the Magnums, if I'm buying a 7-rem or a 300 Win, I want at least a 24 inch to take advantage of that extra powder. So this gun is in 6.5 Creedmoor. As I've stated in some of my other videos, I'll talk a little bit about accuracy. Just understand that pretty much everything shoots well in 6.5 Creedmoor. So there's definitely better places to go to get other ideas, I guess, of how these are going to shoot. But it is a Tikka, so I expect really consistent accuracy across the board. So we'll go over some specs on the rifle. I picked it up now. I've been fire forming some brass back there. I got some Peterson brass in the works. So these are threaded 5/8 by 24 from the factory. They come with this little knurled thread protector. They got a little taper on it. It looks pretty good. No issues there. Screws right off. Interestingly, it's only threaded halfway in there. So it comes off much quicker than something that's threaded all the way, which is kind of a nice touch. I did check it, so this is also 5/8 by 24. I like to just make sure it is what they say it is. And of course, this screws right on. This actually fits very well on the barrel taper. This is off the Ruger American Gen 2. So yeah, that was kind of good luck. So I will say, I'm not a muzzle brake guy. I took this off as soon as I bought the Ruger American, but I did put it on here just out of curiosity to see how much it would reduce recoil. Not that the 6.5 Creedmoor is a heavy kicking round by any means, and I was actually really surprised with the recoil reduction of that. it kind of caught me off guard. Maybe I should look into brakes a little more. Again, not that this is hard hitting, but like just a significant noticeable decrease. So I did some measurements outside of the thread diameter. Came in at on my micrometer 6.26, standard 5/8 by 24 threading, outside diameter 6.25, which is probably what it is. It's kind of hard to measure. The surface threading looks good. Again, it's Tikka, so I wouldn't expect anything else. They've got a good shoulder on there. I've had some suppressors on here. Everything is lining up, of course. I've had no issues with that. So I measured the shoulder right here at the very end, and it was 0.727 for those that are curious. Then I measured midway back here on the barrel in front of the stock, and that came up to about 0.690, which is the same diameter I got when I measured the center of the barrel on my old rifles. Obviously, they taper down at the muzzle, the non-threaded ones, to about 0.620 or 625. So the old ones at the muzzle, 0.625, basically at the widest point. This one over thread is 626, and that shoulder again is 727 or 0.727. So it looks like this contour is about the same as the old barrel. They then flare the barrel out to the end so they can get a proper 5/8 by 24 threading. Other than that, honestly, it's plain Tikka. Again, everything looks great. The stainless looks good. The stock seems to have a little wider gap than it used to, which I like. Definitely free floated. Again, if you're used to Tikkas or you've seen them, they free float adequately. If you load a ton of weight into a bipod, you might have an issue, but they do a good job. Everything else is the same, right? Barrel action is the same, the bolt is the same, the safety is the same, trigger is the same, stock is the same. So I put a rail on here. Actually had to shave the front of it. I know people are gonna cry. Just to get that scope back far enough. I have really big shoulders and a short neck. So that's what I end up doing, just to get proper eye relief. The only other, so a couple things I noticed about this gun compared to the normal Tikka T3X. Again, obviously you have the taper on the barrel with the threading on the end. The trigger on this one, when I buy these, I pull them apart. Every gun, every rifle, right? You should do that with every gun you buy. Take the stock off, check everything. I turn the trigger all the way down on this. I put a little dab of nail polish on, put the stock back on, retorque it, put the rail on, clean the threads, blue Loctite the rail down. And that should be a process for every single person with every single gun they buy. So you got to check torque, you got to tighten stuff up. I have a friend whose son just bought a Weatherby 307, couldn't get it to shoot, took it to the gunsmith who I know, and everything on that gun was loose. The pick rail, the stock, the barreled action, like nothing was properly torqued. So when you buy a new gun, do yourself a favor, go get an inch-pound screwdriver. Just go through them, properly torque it. So trigger on this one is the lightest of the three Tikkas I own. Again, I just back it out until it hits the bolt and it won't go anymore. And this one's coming in about 1 pound, 15 ounces. I don't know if that's within factory spec, but I'm quite happy with that. I think my other two Tikkas are coming in like 2.2, 2.3 pounds. So for whatever reason, this one was able to turn down more. I don't know if that's something different with this generation or possibly just this specific trigger itself. But again, really good trigger. Tikka's always been known for excellent factory triggers. Then the only other thing I noticed on this is the butt pad seems a little softer. I don't have any of the other Tikka butt pads to compare it to because I throw them away and put limb savers on there. This one to me just feels a little bit softer than the last one I bought, just based on memory, I guess. Softer than I was expecting. I don't know if that's a redesign or if it's just my memory's off. So shooting, so I'm not shooting like stellar groups with this right now. This is just getting broke in. I am fire forming brass, and I will say it really surprised me, and it shouldn't because I'm a Tikka guy, but I've been fire forming Peterson brass. I was using Hornady Bookmax load of, I want to see, let me look, 41.5 grains into brand new Peterson brass. And then I had just a mixture of older bullets I was burning up just to fire form. So I had 140 grain AccuBonds, 140 grain partitions, and 140 grain interlock bullets. Couple things surprised me. I was getting pressure right away. So the first 3 rounds I loaded, I was getting a little bit of a hard bolt lift. This is not related to the gun. This is going to be more related to fire forming new brass. And some indents in the primers, right? A little bit of furrow around there. So I measured case capacity. The three I'd fire formed against 3 new pieces, and it was about 1.2 grains different, which is, I want to say, the most I've ever seen. So that caught me a little bit off guard. Again, that's not a fault of anything. This brass just comes pretty small. I guess Peterson and 6.5 Creedmoor. I don't remember having that issue with 308. Not that it's an issue. So anyway, I ended up backing down the load a little bit to I believe 40.8 grains of H4350. So that just kind of caught me off guard. I haven't run into a lot of pressure issues using Hornady book max load. I try and get up close to a max load for fire forming just to get good consistent fire forming. The other thing that surprised me was the accuracy. So I loaded, I think I had 6 AccuBonds, about 8 partitions, and I've got a whole box of the interlocks. And all 3 of those loads, just fire forming brass, again, with just a random 41.5 grains initially, and then 40.7 grains H4350. All 3 of those bullets were shooting sub-MOA as I was fire forming brass. So again, clearly this gun is going to be capable of extremely good accuracy when you're fire forming brass. And I'm just dropping out of my dropper there. As long as it's within 0.2 grains, I'm just shooting it. Yeah, just shockingly good accuracy. I was making good hits out to 400 yards already with unfired brass and just the random spare bullets I had on hand. So I expect great things. Again, it is 6.5 Creedmoor. They usually shoot very well, and it is a Tikka. They usually shoot very well. So again, overall, seems to be the same excellent Tikka quality that we've come to know. I know a lot of guys say I'm a Tikka fanboy, and I am, because I'm just plain a fan of everything that's reasonably priced that works extremely well. The quality control on these, I've never seen one that won't shoot. I've never seen one with any sort of manufacturer defect. So I am a fanboy. I love Tikka rifles. I'm going to continue to buy them. The competition is getting steep in that price range with the CVAs and the Bergaras, although both are, for the most part, significantly heavier than this. So did weigh this gun as it sits, just a Nikon Pro Staff scope on there. It's 7 pounds 7 ounces, and I added the pick rail and the scope and the rings, the Vortex Pro rings. So I didn't weigh it dry, but I would imagine it comes in about exactly where they said it would. Overall, 2 thumbs up for me. Again, like the accuracy, just fire forming has been shockingly good. Everything seems very well executed. It's still got the crappy Tikka stock and Tikka butt pad. Fortunately, there's a ton of options. Even as of the last year or 2, there's been a bunch of new companies making stocks for these. So if you don't like the stock, you can replace it. Overall, great gun. Do me a favor, just hit the like and subscribe button. If about 10% of people that watch these videos subscribe, I will eventually start finding my way up the ratings. I'll put some more time and money into it at that point, and hopefully start producing better videos. Again, I apologize if I misspoke. See the description, I'll correct it there. And I won't be shooting today because it's currently about 36 degrees and raining in Minnesota. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment. Let me know how you feel about the newer barrel lengths, the 22.5 on the Magnums. Like I said, I know there's definitely guys that are going to like it. I would be willing to do that in the PRC or the Winchester short mag, but for the traditional long action Magnums, I'd prefer a little more barrel length just to burn up some of that powder. So I hope hunting season's going well. Everybody have a great fall, stay safe, and thanks for watching.